XDC may collaborate with Elon Musk's ex-wife. Whether you believe it or not, it exists. I inquired, what is the disadvantage? This is most likely the largest. The disadvantage is that many institutions simply wish to finish building their service, which they will not promote to the entire world now using XDC. Before we delve into server value ranking, I'd like to remind you of a few things. You should subscribe to the channel where you receive post notifications. Share this video by clicking the please click the like button, and feel free to look around. Hi everyone, and welcome to another day on Talking Crypto. We discussed having a special guest from XTC Quint. They're coming to talk to us about their initiative. We're going to go over some numbers, as well as how and where the project will take place moving forward. Therefore, first and foremost, please introduce yourself to us. How long have you been associated with XDC? Technology in general to persuade others to have a better knowledge of it, as well as a better way of being able to establish themselves in terms of what blockchain is being used for now. How long have you worked for XDC? Now that I've been with XDC for roughly 2.5 years, although I've been involved in crypto finance enough space for 3 or 4 people. I worked at XCC for years before that. I used to work for a private equity business, so at the moment, I am quite familiar with the finance sector. I worked on the cloud at that firm, so I have a little bit of experience with technology. Having a financial and technological background, this is now my sole occupation. So what brought you to XDC, for example? The time you applied or when you were accepted into the project? What piqued your interest in it? Why the XTC? So, this sort of follows into my small world, similar to how my past was in some ways, but when I worked in the private sector, the most important aspect of equity firms was loans. They would lend to various companies and small businesses, and they'd have some sort of procedure. Flow, and they wished to participate, and automating that process flow at the time, blockchain was exploding. This was in 2017, Because everything was getting nuts, I ended up displaying a passing interest in all of the many blockchains I investigated for Bitcoin technologies. Corda Hyperledger and Ethereum Propane, one of the few technologies available that I began to like were XDC, XRP, and Oquotus, as well as a few other technologies, primarily because they concentrate on the ability to tackle concrete difficulties for enterprises and entrepreneurs. Seeing exactly what the objectives were going to be simply aroused my curiosity in terms of what technology is capable of, and what the objectives were for the people who work on it are fantastic. We were conversing a little bit off camera concerning XRP and XDC and their parallels between the two and the distinctions. We'd like you to inform our audience. What is the distinction between references, and what are the parallels between the two? So I'll start with distinctions. First, because I believe it is the simplest, to get into the specifics, CC is a trade finance platform with a primary focus on developing smart contracts and adjusting to different tasks that can be automated programmatically. Notions of trade finance, whether that is various instruments, whether that is different, the capability of trading, whatever that could be, but I'll catch you up. For only 2 seconds, the layperson is unfamiliar with what exactly that means. XDC is a technological platform that enables you to automate topics in trade finance. Have a look at something like Robinhood, or consider something like any kind of transaction or whatever. It has many different types of technology that must be combined for those smart contracts to be possible with services XDC. And to give some flexibility to be completely operational, decentralization is required. While autonomous apps can facilitate at the same time such services without all requiring a central hub to enable those services, now that the distinction between XRP and XRP is essentially a liquidity maximizing strategy. The algorithms on the XRP platform are known as the Ripple algorithm, which can assist you in maximizing liquidity between several transactions. There are no smart contracts, only assets. Several layers are involved. Attempt to deliver smart contracts, but the primary purpose of XRP is to facilitate liquidity. XDC is to distribute assets across numerous assets. Design a fully automated system. It appears that trade finance applications sort of go together. I wouldn't say they're quite together, but they're like cousins in a way, in the sense that they are both attempting to foster a better means of exchange. XRP does it by XCC, which does this by maximizing liquidity, establishing self-sufficient commerce and services. Everything is fine. How long has XDC been in business? XDC was not created for or on the market. Past this 4-year milestone, launched in 2009 or 2019, to name a few years and months before you loved, but it's around 4 years old at CC. Now, so we just went our way to the top 50 cryptos only to demonstrate to you how quickly we've been moving. That's incredible. We need to talk about this now. A little bit about XDC's price. How do you see things progressing? As you are aware, we hear a lot of there's the buzz in the crypto realm, and then there's some truth. So in terms of actuality, as someone who is working on this project, where do you see the price of this project going? Well, almost certainly all of the costs are, in essence, the total quantity of liquidity that can be used as much as possible on the network. So the more people who use a specific network, the more liquidity there is, the better DOT will be required, implying that demand for the token, implying that you in terms of whatever price, whatever that's comparable to a macro. A question that you are aware of is up in the air for everyone, but ideally, you should have more participants interacting with one another and be more involved in trading with each of them. Then you'll have greater liquidity. The liquidity required by the native token, you must be able to conduct that trade to do so. I'm going to see my reflection. You are completely aware of those additional engagements. That is entirely my duty. Of course, this is the reason. The fundamental foundation of what we do is to make it possible for larger enterprises to interact with one another more efficiently. You're seeing something similar. More businesses are coming to you, which is great. My job is though I were not doing my job. If that wasn't the case, then sure. Yes, since the reason for this is that, right now, everyone is discussing bulls and bears. Is there any utility to these coins, such as a usage slowdown or no slowdown, regardless of price, is the goal. Example of increasing time over time. Don't even consider the cost of what you're buying. I'd want to consider installing an app from the App Store. What are your requirements in terms of seeking out users to help you develop? Growth. You're getting more users as time goes on. There will be a demand for that application. When it comes to these, the same thing applies. Networks, so ideally you'd like to see more of them. Institutions will be able to hire more users and generate more growth. I'm attempting to facilitate the additional services that they provide. Essentially, I'm attempting to facilitate it. Essentially, the key goal, as with any other, might be another technology stack. Considering any type of cloud technology, the more people who can onboard more users to interact with the technology, the more development you will have for that economy. Now that the question continues to be discussed, there are many of these businesses in the economy. You referred to Robinhood and all of these centralized corporations, and you understand the established system. Do you think they'll live much longer? Do you think XDC and other companies will be successful in the future? Companies like it are the wave of the future, and we're going to see a lot of it. Many of these businesses will eventually go out of business. Traditional businesses, on the other hand, are not going away. A lot easier when you look at businesses. For them to be successful, they must act like Robinhood. Capable of interacting with other brokers, finance companies, and other banks require building a relationship with them, such as having the ability to use these technologies with several different parties, all worldwide, simply by applying the internet rather than having silo databases that must be maintained independently in contrast to a shared system that is essentially easily accessible. It's a lot better now with those companies. Attempting to access or list various cryptocurrency companies that we are familiar with. That is attempting to list a large number of you. Does that necessitate a list of others? They should use XDC and similar platforms. Ideally, institutions such as this would employ XDC to offer services for their customers. We'll talk about the latest news. This has an impact on our entire community. We'll see you tomorrow.